Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm shooting at this place behind me, the Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology here in Cambridge. So the museum behind me is the third and final museum of my Cambridge series. I've already done the Fitzwilliam Museum and the Museum of Zoology, and now I'm doing this museum behind me. So as the name suggests, it looks at historical archaeological discoveries from locations all over the world, and it looks at things like indigenous tribes and life forms from centuries and centuries ago. So let's go inside now and have a look. So this section of the museum is called Fault Lines, and it speaks about indigenous tribes that are based mainly in the Asia Pacific region. Here you've got a variety of tribal items from that region, and then here you've got a map of pretty much the whole of the region, which includes a variety of places like Samoa, Tonga, Hawaii, Fiji, Australia and New Zealand. Here you can see a typical family from that region, and you can also see the kind of environment that they lived in with palm trees and so on. And then finally you can see as well some typical household items that you would find in the Pacific Islands, like pots and pans and so on. This section talks about the history of Cambridge and the origins of its rivalry with Oxford. In this section you'll see a variety of memorabilia from sort of the 13th century onwards that was discovered in and around Cambridge. Jewellery, items of clothing, coins and replica buildings are just various examples of what's on display. I also learnt that Cambridge was part of a Roman trade route from Cambridge all the way to Rome itself via the River Cam and out to the North Sea. This helped transform Cambridge from a small settlement to the big city that we see today. This is an example of a Roman tomb that was found in Cambridge. Now Cambridge has had many stories of Roman tombs being found in and around the city, and this one here is a replica of what they would have looked like. These are all various items that archaeologists discovered under Cambridge city centre. I believe it was, sometime in the 20th century. But you can see here plates, you can see pots and vases as a few examples. You can also see glass, like some kind of glass bottle. You can see like some kind of brush and other kinds of items as well. Just sort of showing how old Cambridge is and how much of an influence the Romans had on this area. The discovery happened literally across the road from where the museum currently stands, very close to where John Lewis is. This floor is the first floor, and it's called the Maudsley Hall, which is the main anthropology section of the museum. It houses the principal anthropology collection, displaying culturally significant art and artifacts from all over the globe. This giant statue here is meant to be a replica of a gigantic grizzly bear. This section is dedicated to the Sami people, which are an indigenous group of people based around sort of northern Norway, northern Sweden, northern Finland and parts of Russia. You can also see various items that they use, such as drums and other instruments for entertainment. This map shows the geographical extent of where the Sami or Sami people are located. So you can see there it's mainly northern sort of Scandinavia and then a part of Russia also, which encompasses in total about 4 different countries. They speak a native tongue called the Sami language, which is part of the Finno-Ugric language family. This outfit that you see in front of me is a typical outfit of the Sami people. And you can see there's a red and blue outfit with a hat and a really cool, what looks like a dress. And then you've got a couple of shoes down below. And then alongside it, you have this thing here in front of me, which I don't know the official name, but it's actually used to transport small children. So the parents will put the child in there and then pull it with the child inside. Here you can see a variety of photos showing the Sami people living their ordinary lives in their native locations. This next section talks about Asia and mainly places like sort of Japan and also Myanmar, also known as Burma. And something that's really cool is this cool attire that you can see on the screen. It's like a variety of sort of like robes that typically they would wear in these countries. One of them is called a nufu, which is a Chinese woman's silk dress, obviously very, very popular around China. There's also other items such as a flute made from a pipe. You've also got as well things like bags. You can see things like jewelry and also shoes as well, which look really, really cool. This is an official samurai outfit from Japan, the land of the rising sun. To the left as well, you can see a samurai sword also. This section here talks about the Sarawak people, which is on the island of Borneo, divided between the countries of Malaysia, Indonesia, and Brunei. It has over 200 distinct ethnic groups. Despite a huge variation of cultures, livelihoods, rituals, settlement patterns, and political organisation, there has been regular marriage and exchange of objects and ideas between these groups. This section talks about India, a country of over 1.4 billion people, and has around 700 groups that identify themselves as indigenous. The country is obviously a mixture of Hinduism, Islam, Buddhism, Sikhism and others, but India's cultural diversity ranges from state to state. This section here is dedicated to West Africa and specifically around the area between sort of Nigeria and up to the Gambia. So looking at tribes like the Igbo people, the Yoruba people and the Wolof people of that region. This mask and this outfit are part of what you call a masquerade, which is a masked dance that has a long tradition throughout West Africa. It's essentially mainly done by men, and the masks hide the identity of the dancers. They depict a spirit or ancestor who dances among the living. These masks are rarely ever seen out in public, and these masks are even used to celebrate weddings, funerals, or festivals. This is a Haida totem pole, which is originally from North America around Canada, and these are normally carved from cedar trees by the indigenous groups of the northwest coast of North America. This is a New Zealand Maori war canoe, and up to 80 paddlers could fit in one of these, and up to 130 men in total, and were used to get warriors to the battlefields. This section tells the stories of the indigenous people of the North American plains. So when we're talking about this area, we're talking about areas that encompass parts of the USA and Canada. So places like Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Manitoba in Canada, and also the province in Canada that begins with S that I can't pronounce. But it encompasses a huge area. These are people, as you can see in the photos, that arrived in the Americas or were in the Americas before the Europeans arrived. A lot of them came via a land bridge that connected present-day Alaska to Russia. Here you can see some more items which looks like some kind of like robe or cloth, and then you've got like a necklace there as well. Here is a map of historical Native American land in the present day USA, and as you can see the Southwest was a hotspot. I'm not sure where this collection is from. It might be either the Amazon or the indigenous American tribes of North America, I'm not too sure. This section here I think is dedicated to the Amazon if I'm not mistaken, but here you can see a variety of things like a hammock. You can see various videos of the tribes of the Amazon, giving you an idea of what they live like during that time. This map here shows the full extent of the Amazon rainforest. It stretches over many countries like Brazil, Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, parts of Suriname, and I think French Guiana as well. So quite a few countries, and it's pretty much, I think, half the size of Europe, or around half the size of it. This is also dedicated to the northwest coast of North America, and take a look at the lovely designs on sort of the attire here. And there's like a thing there that shows like some kind of like furniture, like a carpet, and it's got really cool designs as well, which I really love. And here you can see, which is like a drum. It's like some kind of drum that's normally played by the indigenous groups of that region. And also as well, you can just see the variety of patterns that I love. And I think artwork is a really cool way of people showing off their cultural heritage. Overall, this museum houses more than 800,000 objects, more than 100,000 field photographs, and around 30,000 historical documentary archives. It also holds a large specific collection holding over 30,000 artifacts, including, as I mentioned before, some of James Cook's 18th century voyages. The voyages of James Cook took him to many places around the world, like Australia, New Zealand, and the southern tip of Africa, covering thousands of miles across the globe. This is the Andrews Gallery on the top floor of the museum, and it's dedicated to world archaeology and features exhibits and objects from all over the world. Here is a map of archaeological discoveries from around the world. So on the left hand side you've got stuff that was discovered in the Americas. Then the further you go east, you've got Europe, Africa, Asia, and also Oceania. But there's a huge variety of things right there. Everything in this section originates from the country of Benin, which is a country in Africa between Nigeria and Togo. And Benin is very popular for its natural gold reserves. These items were discovered between 1952 and 1958 by a lady called Kathleen Kenyon during her excavations in Jericho. And finally, these casts are from Guatemala and were among the first objects put into the museum back in 1885. They were donated by a guy called Alfred Maudsley. That is it for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Where should I go next? Let me know in the comments below. But in the meantime, I will see you on the next video.